Nwakego, he whispered, "Come quietly, I want you to see this." When his wife Nwakego appeared, standing by the door, he waved at her to draw closer. "Just take a look, Nwakego," he said, pointing at their daughter Chidimma, who was sleeping peacefully on her bed. "She did it again," he said sadly. Nwakego bent forward and ran her hands on their daughter's bed. "You are right, Izuchukwu. She has wet her bed," Nwakego said, disappointed. Izuchukwu was shocked when Nwakego slapped their daughter hard on the face. Chidimma, not knowing what it was, jumped up from her sleep, terrified. "Why did you do that, Nwakego?" Izuchukwu queried his wife angrily. "You know that slap wasn't necessary. You shouldn't have slapped her that way, Nwakego." "Tell me why I shouldn't do it, Izuchukwu. It's just an hour and some minutes this girl here went to bed, and she already wet her bed. What do we call that? A 24-year-old woman still bedwetting. Isn't that an abomination, Izuchukwu? Does it make any sense to you that a girl of Chidimma's age doesn't know when to wake up from sleep to ease herself?" Chidimma, now fully awake, ran towards the open door crying when she realized what she had done, making sure to stay far away from her mother, who was charging towards her, ready to beat her again. "Nwakego, stop it," Izuchukwu shouted at his wife. "I have begged you time without number to stop beating her anytime she bedwets. I have told you it's not normal. It could be a medical or even a spiritual problem, who knows?" "Spare me that, Izuchukwu," Nwakego snapped. "This girl here is just lazy. Too lazy to drag herself up from her bed to the toilet, and she thought she'll be doing it for me. She will realize soon what she did to herself. Look how her room smells," Nwakego said and walked away from the room. "Why didn't you use the toilet before you went to bed?" Izuchukwu asked his daughter when Nwakego left. "I did, father. I did use the toilet." "Then you must have taken a lot of water before you slept," Izuchukwu accused her. "I did not, father. I refused to take any liquid. I even went to bed thirsty, just to make sure I didn't wet my bed," she cried. "You need to stop crying. I believe you, Chidimma. Don't worry, everything will be fine. We would keep searching for a solution until we find one for you," Izuchukwu assured her daughter and left her to tidy up herself. Chidimma locked her door when her father left. She blamed herself so much for not locking her door before she went to bed. She was heartbroken and embarrassed. She sat on the dry part of her bed and cried her eyes out. It breaks her heart so much that her mother thought she does it deliberately. If only she knows the amount of work and effort I put to make sure I am free from bedwetting, she wouldn't be this mean to me, she cried. Her mother, Nwakego, had been supportive and understanding, but she lost it the very day she was returning from a journey with her daughter Chidimma. The two were in public transportation bus with other passengers. It was a long journey that Chidimma slept off in the bus. After a while, her mother Nwakego, who was sitting next to her, felt something warm. She touched their seat and found out it was wet, and part of her skirt was soaked already. At first, she was wondering where the water had come from. She was about asking the bus conductor when she also noticed that her daughter's clothes were soaked as well. It was at that point that it occurred to her like a flash that it might be her daughter who must have peed on herself. Her heart started racing. She thought of what to do. How come both mother and daughter alight from a bus with a wet skirt? How would people stare at them? Would the driver and conductor allow them to just live like that without them cleaning up their mess? She was in a dilemma and she needed to act fast because they were almost getting to their destination. She tapped her daughter on the leg to wake her up. When Chidimma opened her eyes, Nwakego whispered in her ears, "You peed on yourself." Upon hearing that, Chidimma sat upright immediately, embarrassed and terrified. "What do I do now, mother?" she said, almost crying. Keep your voice low," her mother said to her. "I don't know what we will do, but we must do something fast as we can," Nwakego said sadly. Not long, their bus was caught up in a traffic jam. Nwakego sighted a young man selling bottled water and called him to come. When the young man approached their window, she bought a bigger bottle of water from him. Chidimma was looking at her, not sure what she wanted to do with the water. Nwakego opened the bottled water and started pouring it on her daughter, shouting, "Help! Please help! My daughter is passing out." Chidimma, who understood what it was immediately, started acting like she was gasping for breath. Other passengers in the bus gathered, trying to help. Chidimma, who was already soaked up, was brought down from the bus, where she could receive enough air. They were all happy when Chidimma became stable. Chidimma was finding it very difficult to fall asleep again. After what had happened that night, scared she might wet her bed again, she would tightly close her eyes in an attempt to sleep. But sleep was very far from her. She was filled with thoughts of all she had been through. She wanted her own space badly. She wanted to be away from home, away from her parents' constant gaze and lamentation. She cried when she remembered she would have been living in school hostel with her classmates and friends, if not that she bedwets. She decided to be attending classes from home when she got admission into the university because she doesn't want to be laughed at by roommates if they eventually find out she bedwets. She had made sure she doesn't sleep over at a friend's house no matter what. Even if it's raining, her friends suggest she sleeps over. She would always decline and find a means to get home. The following morning, she was up before others. She took her beddings and nightwear out and washed them, after which she took her foam out to dry under the sun before she left for school. She was in the classroom, but she was absent-minded. A lot was going on in her head. "I can't continue to live like this," she would say to herself. "Yes, I can't continue like this. But what must I do?" she asked herself. "What haven't I done? I have done everything I was asked to do, yet no positive result." "You can't continue to do what, Chidimma?" Esther, her friend, asked her quietly, tapping her on the shoulder to get her attention. Chidimma was shocked when her friend Esther spoke. She didn't realize she had spoken out. "What's wrong with you today? You have been talking to yourself since today," Esther, her friend, asked. "It's nothing, Esther. Nothing serious at all," Chidimma said to her. "I don't believe you, Chidimma. I have known you for years and I can tell when something is bothering you. You know you can always talk to me about anything," Esther continued. Chidimma thought for a while, deliberating if to share her pains and worries with her friend. For some reasons, she saw herself opening up to her friend when she never wanted to. "Oh my God," Esther exclaimed when Chidimma finished her story. "Oh my God," Esther said again. "Why didn't you tell me all this while? I am so sorry you've been going through all this. I guess this is why you refused to live in school hostel with us, right?" Esther asked. "Yes," Chidimma said sadly, biting her lips hard, regretting already why she told her friend, scared she might share her long-kept secret with someone else. "No one else is going to hear this, I assure you," Esther said to Chidimma, as though she read what was in her mind. "Believe me, no one will. But you should have spoken to me about this. You never can tell, I might have a solution." "Really, Esther? You mean you have a solution to the problem?" Chidimma asked, surprised, hopefully. "Not that, Chidimma. Not like I have a solution. But I have an idea of something that have worked for someone I know." "Really? Please tell me, Esther, what was that?" Chidimma asked, her eyes shining with hope. Esther paused for a while, as if thinking if to tell her or not. "Well, Chidimma, it has to do with wrapping a snake around someone's waist." "What? A snake?" "I don't understand, Esther. How does wrapping a snake around someone's waist stop one from bedwetting? Where is the connection, Esther?" "Hey, calm down, Chidimma. You are beginning to shout. People will hear us." "The thing is that I have heard my grandfather talking about how a snake was wrapped around one of her sister's waist who couldn't stop bedwetting, after which she stopped. If you don't mind, I would ask my dad about it when I visit home by weekend." Was it a live snake or a dead one? Chidimma, who terrified already asked, almost whispering. From the story, if I can remember well, is a live snake, but you need not be afraid. That my grandfather's sister is still alive till today. I will just have to ask my father how the whole thing is being done when I travel home by weekend. Chidimma couldn't believe what she heard. She gathered her books and stood up slowly and told her friend Esther that she would be going home, that she feels sick. She slowly walked out of the classroom. She was lost in thought that she barely noticed anyone. She kept imagining a live snake being wrapped around her. The thought of it made her sick. Why me, God? She cried silently on her way home. Why are you letting me go through this torture? Is that how bad you hate me, God? She continued to cry. She was glad to get a bus immediately she left the school gate. All she wanted at the moment was to just get home, enter her room, and rest her head. Because to her, she had had enough already for the day. She was disappointed when she got home and met her parents with some visitors. She wanted to sneak in through the back door, but stopped when her father saw her. "Oh, my daughter is here," her father said excitedly when he saw her entering the compound. "Come, Chidimma, come and say hello to our visitors." Oh God, what a day, she said to herself sadly as she goes to meet her parents and the visitors. She recognized one of the visitors at once when she got closer. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Anori," she greeted, and turned to greet her parents too. She meant to disappear into the house at once, but stopped when Mrs. Anori started talking about how fast she had grown, how she had watched her grow into a beautiful and a responsible girl. Chidimma, who didn't know how to react to Mrs. Angli's compliment, smiled. She noticed the smile and happiness on her parents' face. "You are all grown now, Chidimma. You were a little girl the last time I saw you," the young man with Mrs. Angli said to her, smiling at her. "Thank you," Chidimma, who didn't know what to reply to that, said to the young man. She noticed the young man couldn't stop looking at her, and it made her uncomfortable. "This is Victor, my son," Mrs. Angli said to her. "You should know him. You two were friends growing up before his father took him abroad." "Oh, Victor, is this you? No wonder your face looked familiar," Chidimma exclaimed. "It's nice to see you again," Chidimma said to him and excused herself. She heaved a deep sigh of relief when she left everyone in the sitting room. She went straight to the back of their house and carried in her phone. She made her bed and slept off immediately her head touched her pillow. The gentle knock on her door woke her up. When she opened the door, she met her parents standing at the door smiling at her. "Hey Chidimma, why did you leave so soon, like something was pursuing?" her mother asked her, walking into her room. "I don't feel too well. I needed some rest," Chidimma said, angry. "Hope it's nothing serious, my daughter. Does it have to do with school?" her mother asked her, coming to hold her hands. Her mother's touch annoyed her so much. She freed her hands from her mother's tender grip. What's she trying to do now? Why is she acting like she cares? Chidimma thought to herself. "But how do you feel now?" her father asked her. "I feel better, but I still need rest." "All right, Chidimma, we wanted to talk to you about something, but now doesn't seem like the right time. I think we will let you rest, maybe in the evening," her father said. Chidimma's heart skipped. Immediately her father said they wanted to talk to her about something. Maybe it might have something to do with my bedwetting, she thought to herself. Did they discover a cure? She wanted to know. "You can talk to me now about it." "I don't mind," Chidimma, who was eager to learn what it was, said to her father. "All right, Chidimma, you can sit while we talk," her father said to her. Chidimma, who was all ears, sat on the bed, while her parents sat on the chair in her room. "Mrs. Angori and her son just left our house," her father started. "They came here for something very important. His son returned from abroad last 2 weeks and he wants to settle down. Due to how well we relate with their family and how fond of you Mrs. Angli had always been, she reminded his son about you. That's why they were here. And the good news is that Mrs. Anguri's son said he loved you at first sight when you left to your room. And he wants to marry you, her mother added, smiling. Yes, Chidimma, Victor said he wished to make you his wife, if you would accept. Her father said, supporting what her mother said. What? You mean Mrs. Anguri's son wants to marry me? Chidimma asked, wanting to make sure she heard her parents right. Yes, my daughter. Victor is looking for a life partner and wants to settle down with you. Her father answered. What answer did you give to Victor and his mother? Chidimma asked. We told them we would communicate it to you and know what you think about it. Father, tell them I am not ready for marriage now. I am not just ready, Father. You can't say that, Chidimma. You are of age and marriage is a beautiful thing. I have been praying for you to get married some days and I think the days are finally here. Victor is such a gentleman, well behaved and have a nice profession. I believe you would find peace with him. Her mother Nwakego said, Chidimma, your mother is right. Victor is a responsible man and I believe he is meant for you. Her father said, I am sorry I can't marry anyone now. The Victor I used to know before may not be the same anymore. It's been years we saw last and I believe he must have changed a lot. You are right, Chidimma. He must have changed a lot. That's the more reason you need to spend some time with him again to find out what changed about him, her father said to her. Chidimma can't remember the last time she was this happy. She stood and waved at Victor's car until it was out of sight. A lot has changed in her life since she started seeing Victor. Is this love? She asked herself continuously. All she thinks of is Victor, even when she closes her eyes. She just can't wait to be with him. But one thing bothers her so much. How would Victor react when he finds out his wife bedwets? She was having sleepless nights over it. When their wedding date was drawing closer, her parents, who were aware of her fears and concern, reassured her everything would be fine, that she should make sure she stays away from anything liquid after 4 in the evening. A night before her wedding, her mother called her into her room and told her to make sure she sleeps last. She must wait and watch her husband fall asleep first. The moment he starts sleeping, she should slip away and lie down on the floor in case she bedwets. It would be on the floor. Her mother packed some of her thick wrappers and gave it to her. She instructed her to always spread one of it on the floor so that it would soak up the urine if she mistakenly bedwets. Chidimma took the wrappers from her and thanked her happily. It sounded like a great idea. Nwakego also told her to make sure she wakes up early before Victor to tidy up. It was a beautiful bright day. Chidimma adored herself in a flowing white dress. It was one of the best days of her life. She rejected every drink given to her at their wedding reception hall. Even if Victor would find out, definitely not tonight, she said to herself. When the wedding reception was over and they were driving she and her husband home, for some reasons, she was restless as they drive closer to her husband's house. Thanks so much for your time and support. Bye.